Good day, grade 11 students. Welcome to another exciting session in General Mathematics. This is Sir Peter, and today we'll explore a topic that's not just about numbers, but about your future income and real life decision making. So, this is lesson 1.2, computing gross and net pay, and the learning competency is the third one. Solve problems involving salaries, wages, benefits, and deductions, such as tax computations, overtime pay, and gross and net incomes using appropriate technology. So for our learning objectives for today, by the end of the session, you should be able to identify the mandatory deductions from salary. Number two, compute the gross income deductions and net income, especially in SSS and GSIS, using real-life examples. And number three, we explain why understanding your net income is crucial in budgeting and financial planning. Let's have activity number one, what's in the payslip. So let's meet here Juan de la Cruz. He's just been hired as a full-time employee at Math Enterprise Incorporated. So his employment contract says he'll receive a monthly salary of 20,000. But before one starts planning his weekend shopping, he realizes that not all 20,000 goes to his pocket. Like any other employee in the Philippines, he's subject to mandatory government deductions. So here is the challenge. Let's help one figure out how much he really takes home each month. To do that, we'll answer the following key questions. Observe the monthly payslip of Juan de la Cruz in the month of June. Let's have question number one. So how much is the gross income of Juan, and how would you define it in your own words? Correct. So for Juan, the answer for the gross income is 20,000. And that is very obvious in our problem. Now, how do we define a gross income? Remember that gross income is the total amount that you earn before any deductions were made. Let's move to the next set of questions. So are you familiar with the SSS, PhilHealth, Pag-ibig, and the withholding tax? So all of those are what we call deductions. Okay? So one has to pay the following deductions: the SSS, or the Social Security System, which protects one in case of sickness, disability, and retirement. So that's the first one. So for the PhilHealth, this covers part of the hospital and the medical expenses of one. And for the Pag-ibig, this supports housing loans and savings. What about the withholding tax? So the withholding tax is under the train law. So any salary below 80,000 is a tax exempt. So we'll be learning more about if the payslip of one here is correctly computed. Now, how much is the total amount deducted from the gross income? Correct. So the total deduction is 1,500. Now, what percentage of the gross income was deducted? So to find the net income, we subtract the total deductions from his gross salary. So that's a total of 1,500. Now let's compute the percentage. So to get the percentage, we have total deduction divided by the gross income. So that's 1,500 divided by 20,000 times 100. So using your scientific calculator, that would be 7.5% of one's gross income was deducted. So that's 7.5%. While the remaining 92.5% of his salary is one's net pay. So this simple activity teaches us a powerful lesson that what you see in your salary contract is not what you get in your wallet. So knowing how to compute deductions prepares you to budget wisely, save early, and understand where your money goes. So next time that you see a payslip or hear someone talk about the net pay, you'll know exactly how it breaks down. So great job in helping one. Let's move now to the key concepts. So we'll learn how to compute more complex payslips, including commissions, overtime, and bonuses for the next parts of the video lesson. But for now, let us take note the formula. The net pay is always equal to the gross income minus the total deductions. So, have you ever thought about what happens when you start earning your own money? So you might expect to get the full amount written in your contract, but that's not always the case. So today we'll explore what actually goes into your salary and what gets taken out. So you could get your notebook, your calculators, and let's get ready to understand what your future payslip will really look like. So let's have the first one. So the gross income is your total earnings before deduction. So do not forget about that. Next is net pay. So net pay is what's left, or this is actually the actual take-home pay. So to get that, we subtract the gross income minus the total deductions. While deductions includes SSS or GSIS, PhilHealth, Pag-ibig, and withholding tax. Remember that gross income is what your contract says. Net pay is what you actually receive. And understanding this would help you avoid budgeting mistakes. So let's talk about the different common deductions. Let's have the first one. So are you a private sector employee in the Philippines? Then the SSS or the Social Security System works for you. So what is SSS? So it's a government-run social insurance program that provides essential protection for Filipino workers in times of need. So what does it cover? So the SSS gives you access to range of benefits including retirement, disability, maternity, sickness, and death benefits for your loved ones. Now, how much do you contribute? So your contribution is based on your salary schedule with rates shared between you and your employer. So the higher your salary, the higher the contribution, and the higher your future benefits. Now, who is covered with this one? So all private sector employees, including household workers and seafarers, are mandatorily covered by SSS. So remember, your monthly SSS contribution isn't just a deduction, but it is your safety net for life's unexpected moments. Now, to better understand the SSS contribution table for business employers and employees, let's talk about some important key terms. First is what we call the MSC or the monthly salary credit. So when we talk about the SSS contribution, you don't use the exact monthly salary. Instead, we use something which is called the MSC or the monthly salary credit. So if for example, the MSC is a fixed and rounded up amount like 20,000 or 22,500. So that's used as the basis in calculating your SSS contributions. So the monthly salary credits are indicated on this part. So let's say you earn 19,700 per month. So even though that's your actual salary, SSS will assign a what you call a range of compensation bracket. So that's located on that table. So that means that your contribution will be calculated based on the 20,000 MSC and not your exact salary. So where do we um find this link? So the link is located here on this link. So you can check this link. And that's the latest from 2025. So in class, I will give you a copy of this table. So what we're using is the schedule of SSS contribution for business employers and employees so that you would understand how your employers are charged and how you are charged as an employee. Okay? Now, let's talk about more of the MSD. So, the SSS provides a schedule that matches your monthly salary to a specific MSC bracket. So, these are the brackets. So, for year 2025, the minimum MSC is 5,000 pesos, this part. And the maximum amount is 35,000 pesos, that one. So there are 61 MSC brackets in the 2025 SSS contribution table for private sectors. So these ranges up from 5,000 to 35,000, increasing in 500 increments. So you see from 5,000, 5,500, 6,000, and so on. Now, your contributions will be based on the assigned MSC and not your exact salary. Don't worry because your employer also shares part of this contribution. So, this goal is to ensure you're covered for retirement, sickness, maternity, and more. So, when computing for the SSS contribution, always remember that it's the MSC times 15%. So, that's your total contribution rate. So, how do we split that payment? So, the split is 10% for the employer or ER and 5% for the employee or EE. So that is how we split. Again, for your employer, that's 10% and 5% will be coming from you. So the employer's compensation contribution, that's ER, and that is EE. Sorry, this is EE. Okay, next. For the employer's compensation contribution or EC, it's an additional fixed amount paid by the employer. So you could see it here. So there are only two values here that you see. Either a 10 pesos and below the MSC brackets, we have 30 pesos here. These are all 10 pesos. So the EC contribution depends on the employee's monthly salary credit. For example, 10 pesos for lower MSC brackets. So these are the lower MSC brackets. And 30 pesos for higher MSC brackets. So this is where the line is cut. So remember that this is separate from the regular SSS contribution. So, and it's fully shouldered by the employer to support employees in case of job-related accidents or health issues. So the EC contribution could be further nothing. We could notice that using the table that it charges 10 pesos if the MSC bracket is less than or equal to 14,500. So that's the part. This one. And if it is higher or greater than or equal to 15,000, then you are being charged 30 pesos EC or employer's compensation contribution. So the next part of the table that you need to understand is the mandatory provident fund. So the MPF is a long-term savings and investment fund managed by the SSS, designed to boost future retirement benefits. So who contributes this one? It is you who will be paying for this one. So how does it work? Now, if your MSC is above 20,000, only the excess amount over the 20,000 is used to compute the MPF contribution. For example, if you have a salary which is between 21,000, so you are on this bracket. So the excess of 21,000 will be part of your MPF. So there is an excess of 1,000 pesos here on top of your 20,000. So that's a total of monthly salary credit of 21,000. So whatever is the excess is your MPF. So that's how it works. Remember that MPF is mandatory for high income earners. So it functions like a personal savings or a pension fund. It helps secure a big retirement benefit in the future. This also ensures that your income grows, so does your future financial security. So I hope you understand. Now, for illustrative examples, let's have examples on how to compute the contribution. So, if your contribution is 20,000 pesos, looking at the table, your SSS contribution, you get 15% of 20,000. So that's 20,000 times 0.15. And then you get a total SSS contribution, which is 3,000. So the split would be 5%, which is 1,000, and the 2,000 will be coming from your employer. Now, the 30 pesos is your easy contribution, and this is paid by your employer. So the total contribution that will be remitted will be 3,300. But not everything here will appear on your pay slip. So only the 1,000 pesos will appear on your pay slip. So this will be your deduction, which is your employee share. So always remember, not all of these reflects, okay? But this is what reflects on your SSS fund. So you have a 3,000 fund for your share and a 30 pesos easy contribution. That's coming from your employer. Now, what if your monthly salary credit is 33,000? So look at the bracket. So it's under this bracket, 33,000. So you see that everything is 20,000, and on top of that is your MFP. Now, the 15% of 33,000 is 4,950, and that is equivalent to your total contribution. But how is the split? So that's 3,300 for the employer share, and for your share, that will be deducted in your salary, which is 1,600. And this is how your MFP share is split. So the total contribution of your MFP is 1,950, and it come from the excess. Okay, so this is the excess, 13,000. That's how do you get the excess? That's 33,000 minus the base, which is 20,000. So we get 5% and that's 650. And then 10% from your employees MFP share and that's 1,300. So out of the total contribution that you put to SSS or you remit to SSS, 1,950 comes from the Provident Fund. Okay, so remember that this total contribution could also be seen on the table. So that's how we use the table. So what will appear on your payslip? This one. So this 1,650 should appear on your payslip. Now let's have example number 3. What if you don't have your exact monthly salary is 32,850? Remember that it will be under this bracket. So your considered MSE will be the rounded off number. So that's 33,000. So on top of your 20,000, your excess will be 13,000. So that's actually the same with the previous example. You will still have a deduction which is equivalent to 1,650. And the same MFP shares will be funded through your MFP total contribution. So you see, since they belong 33,000 salary and a 32,850, maybe exact or not exact, you will still have the same deduction on payslip since they belong into the same bracket. So again, it seems like example number 2 is just similar with example number 3, even though they don't have the same salary. Now let's move on to example number 4. Observe this one. So our monthly salary is 17,200. So it falls on this range of compensation. And the 17,000 has no excess amount. So the Provident Fund is not applicable here. But since we are rounding off, okay, it's under this bracket. So this is your monthly salary credit. And we get 15% of 17,000. That's 2,550. And then we split it into 2. So that's 5% for your share. And the share of your company is 1,700. Remember that the multiplier here is 0.05. Simply multiply it by 17,000. And in here, our multiplier is 0.1 to get 1,700. Actually, we're just moving decimals, right? So it's 1,7. And then you get half of it. So that's the shortcut. Again, move one decimal to the left. 17,000 becomes 1,7. And then get half of 1,7. And that will be 5% of your share. But observe the easy contribution. Since still this is considered a high bracket salary, so the range of compensation is still 30 pesos for the easy contribution. The next example will be a smaller easy contribution. So this is what will appear on your payslip for example number 4. So that's 850 pesos. Look at example number 5. So the monthly salary is considered low bracket. So the low bracket has an easy contribution of 10 pesos only, not 30 pesos. So this is what makes item number 5 different. So again, it falls under the 13,250 bracket to 13,749.99 pesos. And of course, your monthly salary credit or MSC is classified as 13,500. Again, the MFP is not applicable because there's no excess fund on top of a 20,000 salary. So again, let's do the moving of decimals. So we move one decimal to the left. So the 13,500 becomes 1,350. Then we get half of 1,350, that's 675. We add both. When you add this, you get the total 15% contribution. And how do we get the total contribution remitted to your SSS fund? So that is 2,335. We simply add 10 pesos on the total contribution. So I hope you understand. So this is what will appear on your payslip deduction. It's only 675 pesos. So I hope you find this helpful in understanding the SSS contribution table for business employers and employees. There are also other tables for other workers like the kasambahay, the OFW workers, but this does not apply to you if you will be working in a private company. So this is the most usual scenario. Now, what if you are a government employee? So they actually have a separate agency that will cater the same services offered by the SSS. So did you know that every month, part of the salary goes to the GSIS if you are a government employee? But do you understand how it works? So let's break it down, and this is now your guide now to the GSIS contribution system. So the GSIS, or the Government Service Insurance System, is a social insurance program, same with SSS. And this is exclusive for government employees. So it provides almost the same benefits: life insurance, retirement benefits, disability benefits, survivorship benefits. In other words, this is also another financial safety net throughout your government career and even beyond. So, how much is the contribution? So, employees share 9% of the monthly salary. And 12% of the monthly salary will be coming from the employer or from the government agency. So this is the when you combine both, this now helps you secure your future. So reflected here is the salaries of government employees under the Salary Standardization Law 6. So this is how government employees receive their pay. So every plantilla position in government have a what you call a salary grade. And every 3 years, they step higher into higher positions. Okay? So there is what you call a step 1, step 2, step 3 every 3 years in government service. But so you could step across, and you could step also from one salary grade to another salary grade. So let's have real life examples. Let's understand the GSIS contribution rate. So in this example, let's meet Anna. So she's a social welfare officer at DSWD, and her salary is salary grade 11, step 1 under the SSL 6 second tranche 2025. So let's compute. So as you could see, salary grade 11 has a monthly salary of 30,000, and step 1 is 30,024 pesos. So to compute for the SSS contribution, so that's 30,000. Then we always remember that we round off, okay, the values. So let's go back with the previous example. So in this example, so the employee share is 9%, which is 2,702 and 16 centavos. So we multiply the monthly salary with 0.09. And in this case, for the employer share, we multiply 0.012 with the monthly salary. So 30,024 times 0.09 is 27. And 30,024 times 0.12 will get 3,688. Add the 2, and that will be equivalent to 21% contribution. So notice that we have centavos here, but there are payroll systems, especially in different government agencies, in which they credit the decimal part or the centavos. But what is reflected under GSIS contribution is the rounded off number. So what actually reflects on your GSIS contribution is the rounded off number. That's why these are now the rounded off numbers. So you will not be seeing these shares on your payslip, but this is what will appear on the payslip deduction of a government employee. So it's the rounded off employee share, which is equivalent to 9%. Okay? Any question? Now, let's move now to the second example. So, Pedro here is a senior budget specialist at the Department of Finance, and his salary is classified under the salary grade 19, step number 1. So, as you could see, our salary grade 19 here is 56,390. So, let's go back with the calculation. So, this is what appears on the the salary multiplied by 0.09. So that's a deduction of 5,075 pesos. And for the rounded off employee share, we multiply by 0.12. So we get 6,776. Adding both, and we get the total contribution remitted to GSIS. So always remember that GSIS isn't just a deduction, okay? But it's a protection. It means support if you're disabled, and there is a security when you retire, and there is protection for your family if unexpected things happen. So the government contributes more than you do because it's a shared responsibility to protect public servants. So next time that you see a GSIS deduction on your payslip, remember that it's not just a number, but it's about your future, your safety net, and your peace of mind. So whether you're a government employee contributing to GSIS or a private sector worker paying into SSS, one thing is clear here on our lesson. These contributions are not just deductions, but they are lifeline to security, stability, and a brighter future. Every peso that you contribute today ensures protection tomorrow for yourself and for your loved ones, whether it's for your retirement, if you become disabled, if you become sick, or for life insurance. So, but wait, there's more to understand about your payslip. Aside from the GSIS or the SSS contribution, you will also contribute to the Pag-ibig for housing, PhilHealth for medical needs, and of course, the withholding tax plus other deductions. So if you're curious where to go, stay tuned for our part 2 of this lesson as we break down Pag-ibig, PhilHealth, withholding tax, and other deductions. So again, this is not more this is not just about numbers, but it's about knowing your rights and your benefits and your future. This is Sir Peter, your general mathematics teacher. Bye!